I remember when I first watched this show. I was in 9th grade, towards the end of the school year, and my teacher put it on. I then proceeded to go home and watch the whole series. Not at once though. Definitely not all at once. I definitely didn't watch the whole seasons all at once. Seriously though, I didn't. And since then, I've rewatched the series about 4 times. This is the only CW superhero show that I actually like. The other ones are pretty trash, to be honest. But if you guys want me to review those shows, I'll consider it. Just let me know. This is going to be my longest video yet, so strap in. First, I want to talk about the acting, which is pretty good. Notably by Grant Gustin. When the writing is cheesy and kind of cringy, I can excuse it sometimes because the actors are taking it seriously, and you believe it. I really love Tom Cavanagh, I think that's how you say his name, as Harrison Wells, and how he plays every version of Wells at the same level of quality. And his line delivery is just hilarious sometimes.
Then what is the point?
To have fun.
And to continue your ongoing training by testing the speed of your mind by pushing your ability to multitask.
Danielle Pennebaker is good as Caitlin Snow, but not so much as Killer Frost. I feel like she can only play a nice, kind, and slightly feisty character in my opinion. Not an evil one. I haven't seen her other movies or shows. Joe, Iris, and Barry have some really good chemistry as well. I can't think of any performances besides Killer Frost that's distractingly bad, besides the extras. Also, the CGI in the first couple of seasons are pretty bad, but it gets better in the later seasons. It's pretty distracting at times. Also, the cinematography is pretty bland and nothing special. Let's get into the actual story. So Barry gets his powers, he screws up, and he goes to Arrow for advice. I'm glad that they established this multiverse and added other heroes into each other's show. I just wish the other heroes were fun to watch, in their own shows, that is. I like the little animation when Barry is solving crimes, but they only do this for a little bit, and then they just stop. Seriously, they only do it for a few episodes. I kinda like that. I also think it's funny how Barry is just so fucking awkward all the time. He can't have a normal scene with somebody, especially Iris. Look at his face. One thing I have to point out is, why is it so easy to enter Star Labs? Don't they have security? The first time we see this happen is when Joe just walks in when he finds out that Barry works for Wells. I see how he found this out because he's a detective, but how the hell did he get into the facility? And they even joke about this a few times but never explain it. Just because you joke about a lazy writing choice doesn't mean it's okay, writers. So Joe finds out that Barry is the Flash, they have an argument, then Joe leaves. Also, there's a monologue at the beginning and end of almost every episode, and it's kind of annoying. There's just one scene where Cisco calls Barry, but you can clearly see on the phone that Barry isn't calling anyone. It's on the home screen. I don't know, that was just funny. The mystery with Wells is built up pretty naturally as well. I like the subtle ways that they hint that Wells is the Reverse Flash. So Joe tells Barry's dad that he found out that he didn't kill Barry's mom, and this is a really good emotional moment. This show has quite a few of those. Joe is pretty fun in this show. I can tell the actors are having fun with this.
So look through these mugshots of Central City's most wanted and see if you can find our guy.
That's him.
Damn.
So there's a hostage situation at the precinct and Barry lost his powers so he can't help. But Eddie is hiding behind some cover and can take the shot on the gunman, but he doesn't for some reason. I don't know why. But then when the gunman is not looking, he shoots him. But the gunman has a bulletproof vest on. I guess he should have took Thanos' advice and just went for the head. I like when Flash and the Arrow fight when Barry gets whammied. I don't know, it was just pretty cool. But I definitely think the Flash can beat the Arrow in a fight. This is really emotional scene where Barry talks to his dad after he fails to capture Reverse Flash, and then his dad tells him to let him go and live his life. But this man is a murderer, and Barry works for the police, so he really shouldn't let it go. He should catch him and lock him up so he doesn't kill anyone else. So that was kinda stupid. But it was also pretty emotional. But the stupidity kinda ruined that for me. Also, Mickey Rourke is just funny as hell in this show. And he gets even funnier in Legends of Tomorrow.
What the hell? Why do they call you people the Heat? I'm the Heat!
So Iris gets a job as a journalist and she meets this guy there, and he's just the biggest asshole. For no reason either. Just another person on the list of annoying side characters that I have to deal with. I like this one scene when Barry can't use his powers because if he does, they think that this meta-human can take his speed and he has to run like a normal person. So Barry catches Reverse Flash and puts him in a pipeline, and Barry asks why he killed his mother. Reverse Flash says, because I hate you, but we don't know why he hates him. Like, he never says it. I kinda wanna know why you hate him. But it shows up again in like almost every season, so I guess we'll find out there. Spoilers, we still don't know why he hates him. And so we're probably gonna figure out why at some point, maybe, hopefully. So Reverse Flash gives Flash the choice to save his mother, and in return, he has to let the Reverse Flash return back to his time. And then the Flash almost goes along with it, and then one of his future selves tells him not to save her. Then Barry decides not to save her, and then he goes back and he fights Reverse Flash. But while Flash is about to be killed, Eddie kills himself, and then he erases Reverse Flash from existence, because Eddie is Reverse Flash's great-great-great-grandfather. Then Barry stops the black hole that opened in the city. Overall, this season was pretty decent. The writing was cheesy and kind of cringy at times, but I did enjoy myself, and I had a few emotional moments, so I can't complain too much about it. The big problems were the CGI. It was not that great, but like I said, it gets better in later seasons. So that was season 1. Let's watch season 2. Now we're on to season 2, and we meet our first dumbass side character 2 episodes in, Patty Spivot. First, she keeps begging Joe to be on a task force, which doesn't even exist. And she literally told her that there's no task force. She just keeps on pressing. Listen, lady, there's no anti-metahuman task force. Just give it up. Oh, but I guess they made another task force. Or Joe was lying. I don't know. Whatever. I'm going to complain about it some more later. Also, I'd like to point out that I love Cisco in this season. I mean, I liked him in season 1, but he's way funnier in this season.
Getting goosies.
Also, Patty says she's suited to be on an anti-metahuman task force, but she gets captured by this Sandman freak. She shoots a few bullets, and she just gets captured with barely a fight, so San Diego can lure in the Flash. All she is doing is getting in the way at this point. Also, I like that there's no monologues this season.
But usually hidden behind our fears are second chances waiting to be seized.
Never mind, it's still here, but not as often as season 1. Also, Iris's mom shows up, and I don't like her. I know it introduces Wally West later, which I appreciate, but she's still annoying. I also want to point out that Harry is just hilarious in this show. Yeah, he's a bit of a dick when he starts out, but that's what makes him funny. And he learns to become less of a dick later on. I like that he just throws stuff all the time, and he's just annoyed all the time. Dr. Wells from season 1 had barely any personality, but this one does. I like when Barry gets blinded by a metahuman and he has to go on a literal blind date, and he needs Cisco to walk him through it. It was just a fun little interaction. So Patty finds out that Harry from Earth 2 is at Star Labs, and she shoots him. And she almost ruins everything. She's just getting in the way, and she's so annoying. So Patty leaves the story, and to be honest, I can't be happier. No more screwing things up. Listen, I know I may be sounding harsh, but I mean, she's not very charismatic, and she's like ruining everything. She's not very likable. She's not a very likable character, to me at least. So the Reverse Flash comes back, Barry catches him, and he explains why he hates the Flash. He said he wanted to be the Flash, but he couldn't, so he decided to become the reverse of everything the Flash was. Basically, he was jealous of the Flash, so he wanted to ruin his life. And this explanation is okay, but I would have liked to know why Reverse Flash felt this way. Why he needed to become the reverse of the Flash. That would have been better. I mean, it goes way more in depth in the comics, but this explanation is fine. But then Barry has to return the Reverse Flash to his point in time because Cisco is being affected by the timeline and is about to die. So Barry and the team gets captured when they go to Earth 2 to save Jesse, and Barry is in this cell or whatever. But the cell doesn't negate his powers, and he doesn't even try to use them. He only gets the idea when Zoom uses his powers to come in and kick his ass. Also, don't you think it would have been smart if Zoom would have put a metahuman dampener in the cell so Barry couldn't use his powers at all? I think that would have been smart. I like Zoom's backstory, and he's one of my favorite villains in the series. It's just interesting to see how all that tragedy he went through and how it turned him into a monster. So they escape, and Barry closes the breaches so Zoom can't go to the Earth. I know I'm skipping around here, but the details don't matter. But Barry wants to reopen them to defeat Zoom, and I'm just like, Barry, what are you doing? I know that he doesn't want to leave a whole Earth behind, but that just seems like a big risk. Everyone he cares about is safe, and reopening the breaches, it just seems like too big of a risk when Zoom isn't a direct threat anymore. He's putting everyone he loves at risk. So they open the breaches, and Zoom comes through, and Barry stops him with the little anti-metahuman ankle gun, and then they have a little chat, but then Zoom breaks out of it and gets away. How he did it, I don't know. If you're too fast, does that just make you immune to the anti-metahuman technology? Or I don't know what's going on here. I wish they could have explained it at some point, but they don't. Also, Barry, why didn't you immediately run him into the pipeline when you caught him? Then Zoom captures Wally until the Flash gives him his speed. This is getting repetitive now. How many people have Zoom captured this season? Anyway, Zoom comes back with Wally because Flash said he would give him his speed. Then Zoom gives up Wally, and the Flash is still giving him his speed. Wally is safe now, so Barry can just take him down now, and he just doesn't for some reason. He has a chance to catch Zoom off guard. Wally is safe now, and he can just take him down. Why doesn't he? So Barry gives him his speed, then he takes Caitlin, thanks to Barry. He should have stopped him after Wally was safe. I'm really irritated that he didn't. So they try to give Barry his speed back, but he got sucked into the Speed Force. There, the Speed Force told him to accept his mother's death, and Barry learned a few tricks as well. And I like that a lot, actually. I also want to point out that the fights last way too short. The last fight of the season, our last fight with our big bad of the entire season, lasted 3 minutes. 3 minutes! This show really needs to work on their fight scenes because they are really lacking. Our big bad, the one we were trying to beat the whole season, the fight lasts 3 minutes. That's insane to me. And so Harry goes home and everything is great. Except Barry goes back and saves his parents. Well, the season's over now. I think this season was a bit better than the first one. The CGI was better, the writing was funnier, and the villain was more fleshed out. Remember when I said Zoom was my favorite villain in this show? Yeah, I take that back. Reverse Flash is my favorite. I just think that he's cooler. But on paper, Zoom was the better villain in this season. Let's talk about season 3. So Barry's in an alternate timeline where Kid Flash is Wally West, and I gotta say, Wally's suit looks way better than Barry's. So some shit is happening, Wally's about to die, and Barry is losing his memories, so he decides to let Reverse Flash kill his mom and set the timeline straight again. Well, relatively straight. And everything's back to normal. Except it isn't. Flash fucked up some things and Barry's original timeline was screwed up. So Barry and Iris are together now. And it's funny how awkward it gets when Iris and Barry are close to each other around Joe. And so some more shit happens and Wally gets super speed. And the team decides to discourage Wally from using his powers by not training him, giving him a suit, and not encouraging him because he's not Barry. But my thing is, he's going to use his powers anyway. He wants to be a hero. And so they should prepare him for being a speedster so that he's ready when he inevitably tries to use them and be a hero. This shit just kind of fucked up to me. Because Wally might get hurt because the team decided to not train and prepare him. So some more shit happens and Harry gets captured by the gorillas in Gorilla City. So Grodd sees that Barry is dead and he takes him out of the cage and just leaves him there. But the thing is, Grodd doesn't have to let Barry out of the cage. He could have just left Barry in the cage when he found out that he was dead. And Grodd should have known something was up. Also, I feel this season is a lot more engaging than previous seasons because it has high stakes, and that's Iris. And that's the highest stake you're going to get in The Flash. It feels much more personal than the whole destroying the world in the multiverse plot that a lot of villains have. The Savitar wants to kill Barry because he wants to kill him personally. Not because he's in the way of some huge complicated plan. Okay, he still has a grand plan, but his motivations are clear and personal. And so Barry saves Iris and Savitar is about to get erased from existence. But Barry and the team decide they want to save him. What? This guy is a murderer. He killed HR and God knows who else, and they want to try and save him. How do they know he's not going to trick them? And so Savitar gets Thanos and the Speed Force needs a new occupant. But what about all that time when speedsters weren't a thing? Did the Speed Force always need an occupant? Or did they only need one when speedsters became a thing? Like what happened billions of years ago when the Speed Force didn't have any speedster? Like what happened when speedsters weren't a thing? This kind of doesn't make sense to me and it's kind of stupid. And so Barry goes into the Speed Force and the season ends. Overall, this season was pretty good. It was kind of slow and kind of boring in the beginning, but picked up pretty quickly towards the end. This season was okay. So Barry's still in the Speed Force, Caitlin left the team, and there's a samurai on the loose who wants to Flash. And Caitlin is working at a bar. Excuse me, what? She has 2 doctorates and a PhD, and she's working at a bar. Surely she can get a position at a more prestigious workplace. It really makes no sense why she's working here out of all places. Maybe because she's working with Amunet? That doesn't mean she have to work here, right? She can just meet up after her shift or something. I don't know. So the team gets Barry back, and him and Wally are fighting Kilgore. Kilgore is fucking with Barry's suit because he can control technology, and Wally is just standing there while Barry is getting fucked up. What is he doing? Do something. He literally stands there, watches Barry aim for him, and shoot him. And this guy is definitely faster than a bullet, and Wally doesn't move an inch. These fight scenes are complete dog shit. I really hope they fix this in later seasons. And then we have an episode that looks like it was just thrown in just to show feminism. That's it. I genuinely think this is the only reason this episode existed. I'm not going to say anything else about this. It's funny how Harry needs help from his friends to find DeVoe, and it's just himself from different Earths. It's just funny to see how egotistical he is. Harry is by far my favorite Wells out of all of them. He's funny, has quite a bit of depth as well. Oh yeah, and the CGI is still ridiculous. Also, the T-Rex they're trying to stop in the museum can somehow roar even though it's a skeleton. It seems like this where it's really hard to take this show seriously. So Barry breaks into DeVoe's house to investigate, but he doesn't bring a ski mask or disables the cameras. Surely he has to know he has cameras because he found a camera in a samurai suit. He was spying on the whole team. And so why didn't Barry think about his damn security cameras in his own home? And so some more shit happens that doesn't matter. And this season is about to wrap up, and Iris decided to let the city know what the hell is going on. And I really like this idea. It makes the world feel bigger and more expansive, and everyone is involved. It really feels like DeVoe's plan is going to affect everyone. Notice that I said feel. I also like how Cecile's inheriting other people's personalities with her powers. That was cute. So the Vola's dead and Barry stopped the satellite from destroying the planet and everything's good, but they let Marlize go. She should be in prison for life. How do they know that she's not going to turn crazy again? Yeah, it was her husband, but she still decided to go along with the plan. So she definitely should be incarcerated. And so they go to Joe's house to celebrate the baby, and then Barry's daughter shows up and the season ends. This season was alright. The final fight with this season's big bad was my favorite out of all of them. The beginning was really slow and there was a lot of filler, but this season was serviceable with some okay action and good emotional moments. Now let's get into the season that I didn't like as much. And so in the very first episode of this season, I see something that I don't like, and it's Nora's superhero name. XS? Really? 2 letters? That's really lame. She should have let Cisco name her. And so 10 minutes in, XS is already fucking things up. And she's fucking with Barry when he's trying to fight metahumans, and she's just super annoying. She doesn't have any charisma, and she's fucking up the timeline. Also, she claims that she can't get home because she's not fast enough. But can she just siphon off Barry's speed to do that? That's what Barry did with Jay. And I know she lied about this, but why didn't Barry think about doing that? And so Nora's about to go home, so they decide to use tachyons to boost her speed. But it doesn't work because Nora has negative tachyons in her system. So Barry has to stop Gridlock, but his suit is destroyed, so Nora gives him the one from the future. And this one looks worse than the previous one. In fact, this is the worst one out of all of them. So Barry decides to let Nora stay for a while, and she stays with Joe. And then Wally left again. He just came back. And so we're in the second episode, and the dialogue is not starting off great.
Do you know what 4 years in Iron Heights will do to you, Bobby? It makes you very, very angry.
So Cecile's losing her powers, and so she says she's going to use Harry's mental activity dampener so she can hear her baby's thoughts. And Joe says no. Why? And she even said that Harry said it was perfectly safe. By the way, did Harry get his intelligence back? If so, how? And if not, how does he even know how the dampener even works? This is only 2 episodes in, guys. Also, there's a lot of Marvel references in this season for some reason.
That dagger he had, I think that negated our powers. And he could control it too, like Mjolnir. That's Thor's hammer.
I Peter Parkered her.
It's kind of obnoxious. Maybe because this season came out around all the endgame hype. So we meet Sherlock Wells to help catch Cicada, and he's good as always. Also, we get a little meme as well, and it's not bad. Also, check out my meme page, link in the description. Also, this whole time, Nora's just being an asshole to Iris, saying little smart shit, dissing her blogs, and just being a complete asshole. And so the reason why Nora has been being an asshole to her mother is because future Iris lied about her having powers and put a dampening chip to suppress her speed. But that was future Iris, not this Iris. She does know that, right? So why is she mad at this Iris if this Iris didn't even do that? This whole issue just seems melodramatic. So then Nora starts to want to connect with her mom, and this whole transition happens way too fast. Nora says she wants to connect with her, then a few scenes later, they're best friends. And I do mean a few scenes with them later. I want to see them bond. Maybe go to a dinner, shit like that. But they just say they're friends now. And I'll say again, the dialogue is not great. I was predicting the lines before the actors even said them. That's how contrived this is. And it's not because I watched this season once before. Also, XS is not acting very good. I'm sorry, Jessica Parker Kennedy. The rest of the cast is fine though, except for the side metahumans. But that's understandable. So Barry and Nora have to go back in time to get a piece of Savitar's suit and some other shit. And why does XS run so goofy? Something tells me that Jessica Parker Kennedy never ran a day in her life. So Cisco decides he wants to find a metahuman cure and cure himself because he wants a normal life. But as long as you're part of Team Flash, your life is never gonna be normal. Your life is always gonna be in danger. Unless he decides to leave Team Flash, his life will always be at risk. And if he doesn't leave Team Flash, his powers can come in really handy. So this is just nonsense. I can see wanting to give other metahumans a chance at a normal life, but his powers can help Team Flash if he decides to stay. And this was started to make me not like Cisco as much. And so King Shark is about to eat Cisco, so Barry uses the metahuman cure on him. But Caitlin and Cisco are mad that Barry didn't ask King Shark if he wanted to take it. But he was about to eat Cisco. He was literally inches away from eating him. So you should understand why he gave him the cure without asking. This is that dumb annoying shit that's just here to create drama. Cisco and Caitlin's just being stupid and unreasonable. And so the Reverse Flash is back and Nora got erased from the timeline and it was all her fault. And not to be mean, but I'm not that sad to see her go. All she did was screw things up. None of this bad shit would have happened if she didn't show up. I was honestly more sad to see Sherlock go than Nora. So Cisco takes his powers away for no fucking reason, and he says it's because he doesn't want his powers to be the only thing special about him. But that doesn't make any sense. His vibe powers just makes him even more special. It's not like he wasn't a brilliant engineer before he had powers, right? He was already pretty great, and his powers made him even more great, and it was a great addition to the team. If you would have given a better explanation, I would have been cool with it. But no, he gives a dumbass reason, and now whenever the team needs a breach or vibe at all, we don't have him. And there was no reason to get rid of his fucking powers. No fucking reason. This is one of the things that pissed me off the most about this season. Overall, this season just pissed me off for most of the runtime. One of the main characters was unlikable, the characters were acting stupid, the acting was bad, dumbass annoying side plots, the pacing was off, and a lot of boring moments excluding the infuriating shit. Yes, there were a few good moments, but the bad moments vastly outweigh them. I really don't like this season. And I know I might sound harsh when talking about XS, but she's really unlikable, and she only screws things up. I mean, what did she really fix? She brought the reverse flashback and screwed up the timeline. I guess you can say she helped Barry catch Cicada because he didn't do that in the future, but I'm sure Team Flash would have figured out something, right? I guess you can say that, but she still was very unlikable, and she screwed things up much more than she helped. Well, let's see if season 6 was any better. And so we get a nice scene where Flash stops a black hole while playing the Flash song. And I gotta say, this suit is probably the best one yet. So Cisco steals a serum that can save Barry when he's supposed to die in a crisis, but the serum was supposed to be used to save someone else. So Cisco steals it and puts it right in his workshop, right in the open. Why didn't he at least try to hide it? This wasn't very smart, Cisco. Oh, I forgot to mention that I really like Nash Wells in this season. I also really love this Mortal Kombat joke.
I love Mortal Kombat. You know what my favorite part is?
Finish him.
That just warmed my heart. Actually, I just really love this episode in general. I can say that this season is definitely better than season 5. I really love the episodes where Barry is infected by Ramsey. I really like the episode where Barry is in a speed force while infected by Ramsey. It's really trippy and really emotional. Good job writers on visualizing the sheer stress and torment Ramsey is causing for Barry and the doubt and fear he's going through. And so the Monitor gives Vibe his powers back for a bit, and honestly I'm glad to see it. His powers are super useful, and it was foolish for him to get rid of them in the first place. But then it goes away again after Crisis, so fuck me. Also, I want to point out that Crisis on Infinite Earth was incredibly underwhelming, and it left me a bit upset. Also, I love the new intro of The Flash. That's dope. Also, this gold guy is just ridiculous. And so Wally makes an epic entrance and also learns some new tricks about his powers. And honestly, I couldn't be happier. But then he leaves again at the end of the episode. Can I please enjoy Wally for more than one episode at a time, please? And so Iris is still stuck in the mirror, Barry is still losing his speed, then Godspeed shows up, and it's so fucking cool. The white lightning is just so fucking badass. Also, it takes more of Barry's speed. Rip. Also, there's some editing tricks they added as well. That's pretty neat. And so the bad guy got away, and Iris is still in the mirror. So the bad guy didn't lose this time. That's different, and something interesting they did. Overall, this season was fine. I didn't like most of the side plots, and coupled with Barry losing his speed, he was just getting his ass kicked the whole season. It was getting pretty annoying. The acting wasn't bad, even for the side characters, and the presentation and the music was better. This is definitely a step up from season 5. If I had to rank my favorite seasons, 1 through 6, it would probably be season 1 is my favorite, then season 2, then season 3, then season 4, then season 6, and then season 5. I truly don't know what happened during season 5. The writers just took a nosedive in quality. That was weird. Overall, the show is pretty decent, besides one season. Sure, it can be cheesy, there's quite a few plot holes and the characters are a little dumb sometimes. But this show also has some good emotional beats as well. And the show's greatest strength is definitely the actors. If there were any other actors for this show, I probably wouldn't even watch it. Also, it's just cool to watch the Flash take down villains and speed around the city. I'm kinda excited for season 5 for the return of Godspeed, maybe Bloodwork, and how Iris is going to be saved. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. I did not know this video was going to take this long, but I got it done. If you like this video, consider subscribing maybe. I make videos like this all the time. And have a nice day guys.